you go. Let's move on to our next one. It is the Rookie of the Year award. We mentioned coming off the top of the show, last season's winner was Haley Bland of Lakeview, Nova Scotia. Look at the names on this list. Brandon Carter, Logan Power from his Atlantic Modified Tour days back in the pandemic, Tristan Harris for his work in the four-cylinder back in Fredericton a couple of years ago, Devin Smith in a sportsman, Matt Vaughn in a sportsman, Jacob Logan in a sportsman, and then the Oblina sisters back in 15 and 14. This is our 10th annual award. Dylan, there's a lot of star power on that list.
And a lot, pretty much all those drivers, Tim, are drivers that are consistently winning races around the Maritime still, with Alex and Courtney Oblinas. Devin Smith have a bit of a iffy year this year, but I'm sure we'll be back high on the horse next year. But then Haley Bland, Brandon Carter, Logan Power did really good. Tristan Harris, a lot of top drivers still there.
Tristan running the modified, and obviously Devin still winning races and championships, and Matt Vaughn on the tour, and Jacob Logan hasn't been racing a lot, but when he does pull that old 37 car out of the shed, he's usually a contender to win 1, 2, whatever he does race. So that is a stout list. We are going to add one more name to that, and it's going to come from this list. And this is a cross section of different names, different divisions, all across the region. You start with Austin Pettipaw, who did well. Obviously, Ashton, a 5-race season in Sydney, and obviously Austin did do a little bit of traveling outside with Oysterbed and Miramichi, but a 5-race season is hard to compare to, an 11-race season on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour, or, 14 or 15 or 20-something with a lot of these legend kids that are on this list. You got Isaac Camo from Lake Dowsett Motor Speedway, picked up a bunch of wins in the V8 stock class this year. Cash Bridges, first full year of racing at Oysterbed Speedway in the 4 Fun division, did well for his first year. Terry Lawson picks up the win at 660 on Speed Weekend for the Sharpshooters. Tanton Woolridge has done well in the Pro Late Model. We'll get to, obviously, Jordan Veinotte there as well with the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. Our rookie rules are kind of a little bit different than what the rookie rules vary per racetrack and per series. It's, you compete in these many races. It can't be higher than this. It's had to be longer than this. You've been in the car. Our deal is that if you've been nominated for this award once, as in your division, you can't be nominated again. And this list also was, I think, 32 or 33, narrowed down to 10. There's a lot of names that should be on this list that aren't on this list, and it was a hard decision to try to get it to that. But then you look at the legend car names. I think, Ashton, that was a story this season when you look at the legend division. On this list is Ayden Christensen, Caden Tufts, Chase McKay, Dawson Noble. There's 3 or 4 others that could be on this list. And Andrew Burgess, Chase Livingston. I see Stephen Pickett's watching us tonight. There's a lot of names that could be on this list. This list could easily be 20 or 30 long. To narrow it down to 10 was a task in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like I said before, there was plenty of names that went around the panel that we had, and most of the names were consistent. Your Caden Tufts, Ayden Christensen, from my standpoint, Dawson Noble, Jordan Veinotte, the ones that I got to see more often in the season, really stood out to me. Jordan Veinotte had a hell of a season. Started off really strong and made improvements right to the last race. He's rolling on a high going into next year. Caden Tufts getting the wins this year in the legend cars. Noble, same thing. I don't think there was a night that I don't remember seeing him close to the podium or on the podium. So some very strong runners, and it was, again, very tough to narrow it down to the list that we've had posted today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dylan, we will show the results in a moment, but this one was, I think, the closest we've ever had for a Rookie of the Year battle because there's so much talent on this list.
Oh, yeah. When the list comes out and, when I saw the results earlier, it's like, man, that had to be a tight battle. And you'll see here in a moment, fans, it certainly is. And the driver who won earned it, but a lot of these drivers, like Ashton was saying, be proud of yourselves for even being in the running to win this, because it just shows the type of year that you had.
This is one of the lists that, it went, I started, I think, at 25, and then there was 2 or 3 others, and you pick a couple up from that write-in ballot on the first most popular driver award vote, and you kind of go back and forth and everything else. But there are your names as a reminder. This one came down to the last few moments, came down to the last couple of fan votes, came down to the last panel vote. Your winner is Ayden Christensen of Windsor Junction, Nova Scotia. And it was close. We will show you those results now. Ayden Christensen wins by 2 points over Dawson Noble and Jordan Veinotte. Chase McKay, Austin Pettipaw, top 5 in the overall tally. Your fan vote was won by Terry Lawson. New Brunswick showed up in that final round for Terry. Austin Pettipaw, Cash Bridges, Chase McKay, and Jordan Veinotte. Your top 5 in that. But it just goes to show 3 drivers separated by 2 points in the scoring system that we do use. The kid in the 24 earned it. Scared the bejeebus out of us at Riverside International Speedway this year. But still, the win that he had at Petty, the results that he had at Scotia, and to be able, Dylan, to come back from that wreck at Riverside and continue to do what he did. Hats off to that team, Morton and Nathan Blackburn and everybody that made, was able to get that car back on the racetrack for the next Friday.
Man.
Or not that car, but a car.
Man,
that says something.
Yeah, that actually, you know what? That you just reminded me of that wreck, and I was trying to recollect because we did have a couple of nasty legend wrecks. Man, that one in turn 1, that was scary, but what a rebound. And the kid just had the seamless transition. Like, I know they made a handful of starts when they were still doing bando racing, which most do, but it's as if they were doing it for a few years, the type of racing they were putting on.
He showed down in the States when, he went to Victory Lane at the Rim during the NX Nashville Spring Series. You have some kids that take that transition a little easier than others. Obviously, the 4 and the 3 others that barely missed it when it came to the ballot this year, I think they can all say that they had a very seamless transition into legend cars. It just so happens that, even when you're splitting hairs, Ayden Christensen and Dawson Noble. Dawson had that run at Scotia where he went on 3 races and won a bunch of races. You had Ayden, who was strong at Petty and was on the podium pretty much every single week, shadowing Gage Gilby. They all had phenomenal seasons. Jordan Veinotte with the Rookie of the Year on the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour. It's hard to compare apples to oranges in some of these situations, but it goes back to the amount of talent that we have in this region. Caden Tufts, phenomenal season, started out well in Nashville and continued to ride that wave of momentum. Keep going back to Terry Lawson, who won the fan vote. Speedway 660, that sharpshooter division has turned out some great talent. It's hard to pick one. That was the closest Rookie of the Year battle I think we've had in a very long time, Ashton, but hats off to Ayden Christensen on the win.
Yeah, and absolutely well deserved, right? And it doesn't overlook the rest of the list and the rest of the guys that were on, even just in general. If you were a rookie this year and you had a great season, or if you felt you had a great season, nothing to hang your head by. Work on it for next year, keep that momentum going, and put on a show next year, and I'm sure there'll be an award for you eventually.
And that trophy stays in the same high school because Haley Bland and Ayden Christensen go to the same high school. They'll just have to make a trip to Speedsport.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to have to make a little trip to Moncton to get that award in April. But congratulations to Ayden Christensen, the ACR team, and the whole 24 camp on their phenomenal season.